There does seem to be an increased buzz, a sort of we've reached a kind of a tipping point, I guess. Open source has got enough usage that people are seeing it as a viable alternative.
Moodle is gaining ground on college campuses. Blackboard is still winning the battle for learning management software market share, but Moodle's slice of the pie is getting bigger. I'm Jeff Young, a tech reporter for The Chronicle, and at this year's EDUCAUSE conference in Anaheim, California, I sat down with Moodle's founder, as well as a key executive at Blackboard, to get their views on the future of learning software.
Yes, we may have lost some number of clients, but our financial retention has continued to perform very well. We have, and as far as the offerings that we have for them, we have clients that are purchasing a larger number of things from us as they are, when you think about collaboration and also mobile. Mm-hmm. Okay, we could go on to other areas, but those two are clearly the hottest areas. We could add the digital content into that, and the idea of trying to create a better synthesis of that combination of products that they're looking for and help solve the integration problems. That's a way for us to continue to grow our business in a very healthy way. It's not about the absolute number, of institutions that we have, but rather about the depth that we have into that institution.
Well, I think the major trends that are happening now is, firstly, you already mentioned mobile. You'll be able to do more and more from a mobile interface that won't look like the web interface. It'll be specifically for mobile. It'll use the microphone, it'll use the camera, it'll use GPS, it'll use all these sorts of features. So I think more and more that'll happen. Another really big trend is analytics and in providing very high quality information and just-in-time information to facilitators and teachers of courses and also to students. And when you combine that with mobile, that's quite a dynamite proposition, and I think everyone is thinking about those things and building those sorts of things now.
An illustration of something that could be different, in that time frame would be something like, imagine that you, as a faculty member, are evaluating, you're looking through your grade book and you're evaluating student work. You see from presence information that you have a student who's online just at the moment where you realize you have an observation you'd like to get to them while they're performing some longer-term project. The ability to know that they're there, the ability to spark a session with them, independent of geography and whatnot, to be able to communicate with them and even, share your desktop, share your thoughts, push some other sort of information to them, or even have voice over IP directly with them through that interface.
I think the key problem with online learning in general is that most people who are teaching online now have not themselves been in an online course. So they haven't experienced the interactive power of the internet. So they come from a model where it's about textbooks, publishing, creating content, learning objects, very publishing focus. Mm-hmm. Whereas the internet is very two-way, as we know. Most of the websites we all use now are very collaborative. It's about user-driven content and so on. And that's fundamental to the nature of the internet. So one of the biggest things in Moodle 2 is we have a community hub system, which is about two things. It's about creating communities of practice, which allows educators to learn from other educators who may be a little more experienced in that field. And secondly, sharing examples of best practice. So if somebody is able to create a course in a Creative Commons licensed way that is a good example of teaching that subject to that level, then everybody can use it. Everyone can share it. And so we've created sharing mechanisms for publishing and subscribing to these kinds of things. So it's about basically joining all the Moodle sites together.
So there's one other area that I don't know that you mentioned, but it's or that you were aware of. It's something that's about the approach when you talk about the approach to open source as a threat. Okay. For our business, and certainly, it's on the one hand it is a threat. On the other hand, I think it's done an important thing for the whole of the online education industry as far as market development. Many times the first learning management system that a client experiences is one of the open source solutions, because of its accessibility and because of the ease of that first use. Now, we have taken some pages from that book and have taken some influence from, that, that movement, in how we create our services and how we think about our community management. But there's another thing that we've just announced at this meeting that's called Course Sites, and it's a program that's going to begin in December. But it is a free, state-of-the-art, fully hosted, fully supported version of our latest and greatest products. Okay, it will be free to any individual instructor who would like to use this. So, if we take the example of someone who has never used a learning management system in any market, K-12.
Are there any left?
Oh, yeah. Certainly in K-12 there are greenfield opportunities. Or it could be someone who's using another product now but who has not experienced the best of Blackboard. So we have, again, in thinking about the technical barriers and the administrative barriers and the budgetary barriers, having a version of our 9.1 product that's fully hosted, fully supported, and available to them online, we are confident that we are putting ourselves in a better position for prospective clients to see the best possible version of Blackboard. And similarly, just for our existing clients, there are sometimes, when we think about how we compete out there, that folks they're often using a version of Blackboard that could be 5 or 7 years old.
Right.
Okay. And it is a barrier sometimes to be able to let those folks see the latest product, from Blackboard and the direction and distance that we've come from, those earlier versions. And so sometimes we suffer a comparison between, Blackboard 7 and, say, another product. So again, for our existing clients, they too will be allowed to use the course sites area, so that they can have pilot programs and otherwise take advantage of the latest technology that we have.